Welcome to the deep dive.
Oh, glad to be here.
Today we're going to be going through Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one by Yuval Noah Harari. And, well,
A lot of ground to cover.
yeah, a lot of ground to cover. Our listeners out there probably want to know, what are the main takeaways?
Yeah, what surprised you?
Yeah, what surprised me. So that's what we're going to try to do today. We're going to explore.
Skip the boring parts, get to the good stuff.
Yeah, skip the boring parts.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. And get to the good stuff. Why might the agricultural revolution be the biggest fraud in history?
Ooh, I love that one.
Yeah, right? How about, did cooking make our brains bigger?
That's a really interesting one.
Yeah.
It might have.
Yeah. So we'll see what Harari had to say about that. What else? Oh, we'll talk about how powerful, ideas, really, like fiction.
Yeah, fiction.
Really help build empires.
Yeah, and run the world.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Pretty wild stuff. So let's dive right in. I mean, Harari, he starts us off at the very beginning, Homo sapiens, this unremarkable animal just in a corner of Africa.
Yeah, just hanging out in Africa.
Yeah, just hanging out. And he takes us all the way through to, how we dominate the planet.
It's an incredible journey.
Right, it is. And so many twists and turns. I mean, one of the most fascinating parts for me is this whole concept of the cognitive revolution.
Yeah, the big jump.
The big jump. Yeah, around 70,000 years ago. What happened there?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
Harari thinks it was about our language, like how we, think and communicate, and also our shared myths.
Shared myths? What do you mean, like gods and goddesses and stuff?
Yeah, gods and goddesses. But also, nations,
Yeah.
corporations, even money.
Yeah.
These are all imagined realities, as he called them.
Yeah, imagined realities.
Not real in any, objective physical sense,
Oh.
but we all agree they exist.
Right.
So they have immense power.
And that's what gave Homo sapiens the edge.
He thinks so. Because think about it. Chimps, they can, make groups of maybe a few dozen.
Yeah.
Based on, who they know. But humans,
Yeah.
millions, billions, all because we believe in, these shared stories, these myths.
Yeah.
It's like this social glue binding us together.
Yeah, I see.
We can cooperate in huge numbers, unlike any other species.
Okay, so that's how we outcompeted other human species and spread across the world.
He makes a compelling case.
Right, and built all these, complex societies.
Right, empires and cities.
This is wild. So once we had this cognitive superpower, we were, unstoppable.
Well, hold on. There's a twist.
No.
Harari, he says the agricultural revolution, the next big thing, maybe wasn't such a great deal.
Well, you mean, farming?
Yeah, farming. He calls it history's biggest fraud.
Wait, seriously, how? I mean, that led to, food surpluses and the rise of civilization.
Right, the traditional story. But Harari wants us to think about it from the individual's perspective. Longer work hours,
Ooh.
worse diet,
Oh.
and really susceptible to famine and disease.
Oh, so you're saying hunter-gatherers might have had it better?
Maybe more free time,
Yeah.
healthier, even less likely to starve.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, and there's actually some evidence, like those skeletons they find
Yeah.
from hunter-gatherer times, often taller, healthier than the early farmers.
Wow, really? Okay. But if farming was so bad, why'd we do it?
It's a puzzle.
Yeah.
Harari thinks maybe a bunch of things came together, like climate change, more people, and maybe even
Yeah.
this desire for bigger, more complex social stuff. Think about Göbekli Tepe,
Okay, remind me.
that site in Turkey, the oldest, big structures in the world, right?
Yeah.
They built these massive temples, 10,000 BCE,
Way before farming.
way before farming. So maybe religion or, needing these big gathering places
Yeah.
drove the shift to agriculture.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Maybe they needed to feed all the people building those temples.
Right, and that's how we started farming.
Exactly.
So agriculture was more of a trade-off, right? Led to civilization, but also new problems.
He's big on that, on unintended consequences. Progress isn't always what it seems.
Right, right. Okay, so now we have these bigger societies. What happens next?
Well, to manage all this new complexity, we need a new tool. Enter writing.
Oh, yeah, writing. Harari talks about how it changed everything from, basic record keeping to
expressing our deepest thoughts.
Yeah. He even talks about, those early forms of writing, Sumerian cuneiform.
Oh, those little wedge shapes.
And how they were partial scripts, symbols for specific words.
Right, just for keeping track of stuff.
Yeah.
Like taxes, trade.
Right.
But then writing got more and more expressive,
More powerful.
capturing thoughts, stories, emotions.
And he mentions the Inca quipu, too.
Oh, that's a mind-blowing one.
Yeah, knotted cords. They could store so much information.
Population data, transactions, even like historical narratives,
Yeah.
all without a written script.
It's like a 3D spreadsheet made of string.
Incredible, right?
Yeah, and it shows how, we're so creative, even without fancy tech.
Exactly. And writing, in all its forms, it changed how we think.
How?
Well, before writing, it was all, stories, songs, rituals.
Yeah,
Information could change with each retelling.
right.
But with writing, it's fixed. You can store it, transmit it accurately.
So like knowledge could build up.
Exactly. Libraries, archives, it all starts with writing.
And it changed how we think, too.
Definitely. Think about remembering a list without writing it down.
Oh, yeah.
You'd use like rhymes or pictures in your head.
Yeah.
But with writing, you don't need that. Your mind is free for other things.
So writing allowed us to think differently.
More abstractly, analytically. It's no coincidence that math, philosophy, all those complex ideas,
Yeah.
they come along with writing.
Right, and our world is built on writing now.
Oh, totally. Texts, emails, the internet, it's all writing.
Yeah. So now we have writing, these bigger societies. What comes next?
Empires.
Yeah.
Like massive political structures.
Yeah, for better or worse.
Right, a mixed bag.
Yeah, they spread some good ideas, but...
Oh, plenty of bad, too.
Yeah, he uses the example of the Akkadian Empire, one of the first.
Yeah. Powerful but brutal.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like we want to be part of something bigger than ourselves, even if it's not always good.
That's interesting. And religion plays a role, too. From animism, spirits everywhere,
Yeah.
to polytheism, many gods,
Right.
to monotheism, just one true God.
And that shapes so much, right? Wars, revolutions, how we see the world.
Absolutely.
And then there's capitalism, this whole system built on growth.
Yeah, reinvest profits, create more wealth.
Yeah, totally different from earlier systems.
Right, they were more about redistribution, stability.
Yeah, and capitalism, it's brought progress, but...
Oh, and problems, too.
Right, exploitation, the environment.
He talks about the slave trade, driven by sugar.
That part was disturbing, really made you think.
Yeah, progress isn't always ethical.
Okay, so now we're in the modern world, we have so much, but...
The big question is, are we happier?
Right, that's what Harari asks.
Longer lives, more stuff,
Yeah.
but are we happier?
Yeah, are we?
Complicated. He says, individualism, consumerism,
Yeah.
this constant wanting more,
Yeah.
it can lead to isolation, dissatisfaction.
It's like we're always chasing something, but never satisfied.
Exactly. And it's partly about expectations. Our ancestors, they had it harder, but
That their expectations were lower.
right, they weren't bombarded with images of, the perfect life.
Yeah, that makes sense. So even though we have more, we might not be happier.
It's a paradox, and it leads to an even bigger question.
Right.
Can we engineer happiness?
Whoa, slow down. You mean like manipulate our brains?
Exactly. Drugs, gene editing, could we hack our happiness?
It feels kind of artificial, though.
Right, like bypassing what makes us human. And there are ethical issues, for sure.
Huge ethical issues.
Could lead to, like, abuse, manufactured happiness, not real joy.
Right, but what if it could help people who are suffering?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. This is like getting into, controlling our own biology, becoming...
Designers of ourselves.
Wow. We've gone from the dawn of humanity to engineering happiness in like an hour.
It's a whirlwind tour of history.
So much more to talk about. Harari's predictions about the future, AI, reshaping ourselves, the world,
Lots to ponder.
the Industrial Revolution.
Oh, yeah, that changed everything.
Yeah, so we all kind of have this picture of the Industrial Revolution, right? New machines, factories, mass production.
And a lot of pollution.
Yeah, there's that too. But, progress and problems often go hand in hand.
Right, there's always a flip side.
So what did Harari say about the not-so-great parts of this period?
Well, like you said, huge increase in, productivity, wealth,
Yeah.
but also a lot of environmental damage, exploitation of workers.
Right. Not everyone benefited equally.
Not even close. He brings up the Atlantic slave trade,
Oh, yeah, that's a dark chapter.
driven by the demand for sugar.
It's crazy to think how our desire for sugar led to such suffering.
Yeah, economic progress doesn't always equal moral progress.
No, it doesn't. And we're still dealing with those same tensions today, right?
Yeah.
Globalization, automation.
Right, who benefits, who loses out?
It's a tough question. But let's shift gears a bit. Now we're in the modern world. Things are objectively better for a lot of people.
Right, longer lifespans, less poverty, less violence.
So the big question Harari asks is, are we happier?
It's a good question. I mean, we have so much
We have like everything.
technology, medicine, comforts.
Right.
But happiness is tricky, right?
It's not just about stuff.
No, it's subjective.
Yeah, our experiences, our expectations, our sense of meaning, all that.
Right. And the modern world, it brings new challenges to happiness.
Yeah, he talks about the breakdown of families, communities.
The rise of social media, constant comparison to others.
It's like we're on a treadmill, always chasing, never arriving.
He connects it back to expectations. Our ancestors, they may have had harder lives.
Yeah.
But they also expected less.
They weren't bombarded with like perfect Instagram lives and stuff.
Right. So we might have more, but be less happy because we expect more.
It's kind of mind-bending. So where does that leave us?
Well, it leads to a really wild question.
Yeah.
Can we engineer happiness?
But wait, what do you mean engineer?
Like literally manipulate our brains to be happier.
Through like what? Drugs?
Drugs, maybe even gene editing. Hack our own happiness.
But wouldn't that be like fake happiness?
That's the question, right? Bypassing the natural ups and downs of being human.
Yeah, the sadness, the joy, it's all part of it.
And there's a whole ethical can of worms.
Yeah, talk about unintended consequences.
Could lead to abuse, people being forced to be happy, who knows?
But imagine if it could help people who are really suffering, like with depression.
It's a tough call. It's like we're talking about controlling our own biology.
It's getting into like sci-fi territory here.
Yeah, it's blurring the lines.
We've covered so much already. The cognitive revolution, the industrial revolution, engineered happiness.
And we're just getting started.
There's still so much more to unpack. Harari's predictions about the future, AI, reshaping ourselves, the world.
It's going to get even wilder.
So deep divers, stick with us. We're about to go even deeper down the rabbit hole. All right, deep divers, welcome back.
We're in the home stretch now.
Yeah, we made it to part 3. So far, we've covered the cognitive revolution, the industrial revolution.
I question the whole, progress thing.
Yeah, is it all it's cracked up to be? And we even, dip our toes into the crazy world of engineered happiness.
Yeah, manipulating our brains to be happy. That's,
It's a lot, right?
It's a lot.
It's a lot. But now get ready because it's about to get even more mind-blowing.
This is where Harari really takes us into the future.
Yeah, the future of humankind. And what he says is we're entering this totally new era.
Where we're not limited by natural selection anymore.
Okay, hold on. That's a big statement.
It is, right.
So what's he talking about?
Intelligent design, we can actually, design life now.
Through, what, bioengineering, gene editing, all that?
Exactly. We're not just waiting for evolution to happen. We can direct it.
So we're taking over for Mother Nature.
In a way, yeah.
Wow. And this opens up some, crazy possibilities, right?
Yes, some pretty big questions. Could we bring back extinct species?
What? Dinosaurs?
Maybe not dinosaurs.
That's not
It's funny. But, mammoths?
Mammoths. Seriously?
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Wow. Okay, what else?
What about, engineering humans with enhanced abilities, even, super intelligence?
Whoa, slow down. Superhumans. That's, comic book stuff.
It is, right.
Yeah.
But it's something we might actually face in the future.
And that brings up a whole bunch of, ethical stuff.
Oh, yeah, huge
Right.
ethical dilemmas.
Yeah.
What happens if we create a class of superhumans?
Would it be X-Men?
Maybe, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
But it could definitely increase inequality, create new conflicts.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
And, there's the potential for, bioweapons, genetic discrimination.
Scary stuff.
Yeah, and those are just the things we can think of now.
Right. Who knows what else might happen?
Exactly. And then there's AI.
AI, artificial intelligence, it's everywhere.
And it's only getting more powerful.
Okay, so where does Harari see AI going?
He thinks we're headed towards super intelligent AI.
Super intelligent, meaning smarter than us.
Yeah, machines that can think for themselves, solve problems we can't even imagine.
And that's a little unsettling.
It is. What happens when AI surpasses us? Do they become our partners, our rivals?
Or our overlords, in the movies.
He doesn't rule that out. But he also says it might be more complicated than that.
So maybe humans and AI could work together.
Yeah, a kind of symbiotic relationship, each contributing their strengths.
That would be kind of cool.
It would. But even then it would change everything. Our jobs, our relationships, what it means to be human.
It's hard to even wrap your head around.
It is.
Yeah.
And, he's not saying he knows exactly what will happen.
He's just opening our eyes to the possibilities.
Exactly. Making us think about the choices we make today, how they shape the future.
It's a lot of responsibility.
It is. But it's also exciting. We're not just passive bystanders. We can make a difference.
So what does this all mean for us sitting here listening?
It means we need to be aware, to think critically, to have these
To
conversations.
decide what kind of future we want.
Exactly. Because the future isn't set in stone. It's up to us to shape it.
Wow. So Harari's book, it's not just about history. It's about, like, what it means to be human.
In a world we're increasingly in control of.
And we have the power to change things, for better or worse.
That's the message.
Well said. So to all you deep divers out there, if you haven't read Sapiens, I highly recommend it.
It'll make you think.
Yeah, it'll make you think. And, who knows what the future holds?
It's a wild ride.
It is a wild ride. But that's what makes it so interesting, right? So keep those minds curious, keep exploring.
And thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time for another fascinating journey into, well, who knows. Until then, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.